As you guys know, I've been desperate to see an undisputed fight at heavyweight for the past 8 years, ever since Vitaly Klitschko retired and Wilder became WBC champion. Undisputed has always been my thing. So my heart sank when I saw this interview with Tyson Fury immediately after his third win over Derek Chisora, where he revealed that he's carrying an injury that will require surgery and it will take 6 to 8 weeks to heal. The proposed dates for the undisputed fight in Saudi Arabia are between February 18th and March 4th. And if Fury needs 6 to 8 weeks to recover from surgery before he starts camp, then he's obviously not going to be ready for those dates. And they can't push it back past March 4th for 2 reasons. 1, because of Ramadan, and 2, because Usyk has just been ordered to face his mandatory Filip Hrgovic. Tyson Fury knew all of this ahead of time. And what's most disturbing here, people, is that Fury seemed to suggest that this elbow injury occurred before the Chisora fight. I mean, are we to seriously believe that Tyson Fury diagnosed himself and issued an accurate prognosis in the ring without even having a scan or seeing a doctor? How plausible does that sound? No, people, this suggests that the injury was pre-existing, in which case going through with the Chisora fight is absolutely inexcusable. Instead of having a 6 to 8 week camp for Del Boy, why not get your surgery instead? Get your rest and be ready for Usyk on the agreed dates next year. That would be the logical thing to do if he really wanted this fight as much as he claims he does. Why would you jeopardize everything by going through with this meaningless, pointless trilogy with Derek Chisora? And this is assuming that Fury is actually injured here. I can't guarantee that that is even true. I've already heard some people say, well, this is no big deal because Usyk pushed the fight back due to injury as well, so Fury's just doing the same. But this, of course, is complete and utter nonsense. The two situations are totally different, and it would take someone with an intellect below kindergarten level to not be able to see this. Fury knew that there was a deal in place to fight Alexander Usyk early next year. Usyk, Bob Arum, and Frank Warren had all agreed, and the only thing left to do was get Fury's signature. Fury knew that the latest date for the fight in Saudi Arabia was March 4th because of Ramadan and Usyk's mandatory against Hrgovic. Fury was under no obligation to fight Derek Chisora or anyone else in December. It was all purely voluntary. And if he was carrying an injury going into the Chisora fight, then he knew he was jeopardizing the Usyk fight by not pulling out and getting surgery instead. Now, if you compare that to Usyk's situation, there was no deal in place for Usyk to fight Fury going into the AJ rematch. There were no dates agreed or anything. A week or so after he beat AJ, he did a press conference with the media from his country who asked him when he'd be out next. And he told them he needed to rest and recover over Christmas, then he'd be looking to fight Fury in early 2023. Fury then pounced on this opportunistically and claimed that Usyk was pushing the fight back. But how can you claim he pushed the fight back when there was never any date agreed in the first place? Fury made absolutely no mention of December 3rd until after Usyk did that press conference. So to me, it just looks like an opportunistic PR stunt by Tyson Fury. Furthermore, Usyk was contractually obligated to have a rematch with Anthony Joshua. He didn't have a choice. So the wear and tear he suffered in camp and in the AJ fight itself was unavoidable. That is totally different to Fury fighting Chisora and the surgeries he may have delayed in doing so, because that was completely avoidable. It was a voluntary defense. And let's not forget, Usyk tried his best to fight Fury at the start of this year, before the AJ rematch, by working out a step-aside deal with AJ, which AJ was willing to accept. But then Fury decided to move the goalposts and said he needed a tune-up fight Therefore, the step-aside deal with AJ had to be renegotiated because AJ would be forced to wait even longer for a shot at the winner. The situation got dragged out by Tyson Fury for about 3 months, at which point AJ and Hearn decided to put their foot down and go straight into the Usyk rematch. Usyk's team publicly stated on several occasions that it was Tyson Fury causing the holdup. Fury had just fought Deontay Wilder. He was match fit. So why was he demanding a tune-up fight for Usyk? What's all that about? He acts like Usyk is an easy fight, so why do you need a tune-up? Usyk never asked for a tune-up. Now, you may remember, a month or so ago, I accused Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn of using stalling tactics, of running down the clock in order to avoid fighting Tyson Fury this month, December 2022. I think that's a very reasonable supposition, but you could just as easily argue that it's equally reasonable to suppose that Fury was using stalling tactics to avoid Usyk at the start of this year. And the big question is he still using stalling tactics right now? That's a question, not a statement. And I ask it because why else would he go through with the Chisora fight if he knew he needed surgery beforehand? Why would he risk making the injury worse by taking a pointless, meaningless fight? I don't want to hear any delusional fanboy nonsense. I want to hear logical, rational arguments, people. If you ask me who I trust more out of Usyk and Fury, it's obviously Alexander Usyk, because he doesn't contradict himself non-stop and go back on his word every other day. But when it comes to Tyson Fury, that's exactly what he does. You'd have to be a monumental fool to trust Tyson Fury more than Alexander Usyk. Just look at Usyk's previous track record when it comes to making big fights. There's no protracted negotiations that drag out for months. He gets straight in and fights people in their own backyards. No messing around. He beat Glowacki in Poland. He beat Michael Hunter in America. He beat Bridis in Latvia. He beat Gassiev in Russia for undisputed at cruiser. He beat Bellew in the UK. He beat AJ in the UK for the heavyweight title. He beat all these guys in their own backyards. He's a 2-weight world champion, 9 world title fights since 2016. This guy don't mess about, people. The same cannot be said for Tyson Fury, who has a long history of messing about. As far as I'm concerned, all this stuff Fury says about Usyk being an easy fight is just hype talk. I think in reality, he actually sees Usyk as a massive threat. You don't need tune-ups for easy fights. I sincerely hope that Fury has overestimated how long these injuries are going to take to heal and that he will be ready for March. I don't want to believe that Tyson Fury is deliberately stalling this fight and that he's actually waiting for Usyk to get old and damaged before he fights him. I don't want to believe that. Usyk's a couple years older than Fury. He's got mandatories coming out of his ears against big, strong guys like Joyce, Hergovich, and Dubois, and Fury knows this. I don't want to believe that he's doing what Canelo did back in the days when he avoided Golovkin for a couple years before he eventually agreed to face him the first time, when he waited until he saw some deterioration against Danny Jacobs. I don't want to believe that Fury's doing the same thing with Usyk. But again, you would have to be a monumental fool to dismiss the possibility, given Fury's long history of being dishonest, contradictory, and extremely manipulative. Now, I'm sure some people are going to say that Usyk should just drop the IBF belt and try and reschedule the Fury fight. But firstly, that would mean that it's no longer undisputed. And secondly, who's to say Fury wouldn't just try go off and fight someone else anyway? Or retire, quote unquote, again. The man has contradicted himself and gone back on his word so many times, it's absurd. But again, I hope to God that on this occasion, he's just overstated the time it will take for these injuries to heal and that he will be ready to fight on or before March 4th. I really want to believe that. Let me know what you think, people. I'm out. If you're tired of the biased narratives and mass censorship on mainstream platforms, and you want to be part of a community of critical thinkers who love free speech just as much as you do, then come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide variety of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&As, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got an Element group where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Unlike Discord, it has full end-to-end encryption, is decentralized, and is 100% censorship free. You can also send voice notes as well as much larger audio and video files than you can on Discord. So come and sign up on Patreon. There's no contract, there's no commitment. You can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So I'll see you over there. I'm out.